Hey all, we are here with John Gist from Vegas Rock Revolution. He's putting on Planet Desert Rock Weekend in Vegas. This is number five. It goes January 30th until February 2nd, 2025. A host of absolutely phenomenal bands. Let me say, last time we talked, you were talking about Sergeant Thunderhoof, and I was literally just listening to him,
Yeah.
and I am so blown away.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. What did you hear? What did you listen to? I mean, they got a decent sized catalog, so
So I just pulled it up on Spotify. I listened to Baden, I guess is what it is, and
yep, the new
Blood
album.
Moon.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
holy shit.
Yeah. It's quite a an interesting album for them. And they do like to keep it fresh. They've been in the kind of the doom stoner rock, heavy rock scene for a good while now. But this album, they really kind of got expansive. And I to me, I felt like they really did a lot of focusing, or maybe kind of highlighting Dan's vocals. Like he's an exceptionally good singer. Yeah.
100%, like I am, that is the part, like the musicianship is fantastic, but the
Yeah.
vocals, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. He's a good lyricist. It's a themed album about, I don't know if it was a tale, it was a British folklore kind of story, potentially true kind of thing. And I think he does a great job with storytelling and kind of capturing emotions in there as well. The Salvation song, that's my favorite of the album. And it rocks it rocks, but it's catchy, even melodic, which I've continuously said I'm all right with melodic. As you can probably see by the lineup, I like clean vocals. I like the idea of this is a lot of this music could be our future radio rock that we make up in our minds
Sure.
as conceptually for the world to start, taking in. It's hard to know if does that. And dude, if you haven't heard the album before that, Absolute Blue, that song is insane.
All
Like
right.
exceptionally good song. And that album is a little heavier as well. So all their
Well,
stuff is good, dude. So yeah.
it's like I'm just absolutely like blown away. I think obviously the lineup, there's so many fantastic bands, and I've said this a million times, like Fire Down Below, they are the reason that I'm going, because I wanted to catch that first like US appearance. They
Yeah.
they they are,
Only.
yeah, yeah. That,
Yeah.
only for now. But
So, Tom, I like how you brought that up. The truth of it is, with many of these bands, with Planet Ezra Rock, there's a uniqueness to why this is and why it hopefully is attractive to some and will continue to open eyes because some of this may never happen again,
right.
period. We have no idea if Sergeant Thunderhoof will ever be back. They've been around for 10 years, they haven't done it.
Yeah.
And it took me and Dan, chatting a few times and sharing the same kind of vision of what we, just what we wanted to do. And, like this past year, I did Spiral Arms, um, you know, uh, reunion show. I mean, off of a random conversation with Tim Narducci. I mean,
It's awesome how those things like come about though, and it's
yeah,
almost always off of just a random conversation,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
But my random conversations and when I bring things up, it is because I would potentially want them.
Oh yeah.
So it's not contrived, but I try not to talk. I don't talk shit. I don't have diarrhea of the mouth until about 12 o'clock on a Friday night after I've been drinking a bunch. No, I'm trying. So it's when I'm talking to these musicians, whether it was Tim doing, Spiral Arms and getting Craig back in the loop, which at one time there was friction with those guys, and they kind of, patched things up the last few years after Tim lost a brother that played with both of them. So it, it's it's my honor to kind of bring this unique parts of this festival, and with Jason Walker doing the final night. That literally came off of me and him hanging out at Vamped and just chatting, and me telling him, because he actually opened. He was part of opening night of year two. Um, he played with the headliner was Radio Moscow, who's no longer around. Um, Ape Machine, which tours some, but not much, really. Ian's a
Right.
busy man, and the rest of these guys. And then Shotgun Sawyer, who just hit number 3 on the Doom charts this past month, just announced. Great bluesy rock kind of band off the Ripple. And Jason was on that show, and he blew people away. And he was playing nothing but covers, maybe one original. And the covers are, they're not like, if he's going to play Led Zeppelin, he's not going to play Black Dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not even going to play probably a whole lot of Love, but he'll play those other really, really good songs. Same with even Crosby, Stills, and Nash, heavy it up and push this soulful vocals into it. The guy is just so talented. So when I said, hey, God, I mean, we could do something crazy. And then I said, Badmotorfinger is, like, to me, one of the most iconic albums. I think it's got a very big place in at least part of the Heavy Underground family,
Yeah.
because I think it was a continuation for many of us of what we wanted in music. And he shared the same love. I knew that because I'd heard him do like Slaves and Bulldozers and a couple of the other songs. So when I brought it up to him, and he was like, the rest is history. He gets back to me a couple days later and was like, let's do it. I think they had their first rehearsals last night.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Holy shit.
and it's going to be an hour set. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
these days, and I mean, these days, they won't start, before dinner time ever, you know. Um, but they may go pretty late. And so it's going to be up to people to, you don't have the problem because you don't drink anymore, but you might have to get a Red Bull or two. But there'll be midnight set for at least the Saturday night. It's just the way it has to work with six
Yeah.
bands. And I'm gonna have a Mega Sun finish the night, which is like this a little more ominous, darker, heavier sound. And I'll make sure the lights guy turns it down a little bit,
Hell yeah.
keeps it black and white more, and I think production is important too. So
Oh, for sure. It's all about the experience, the
it is
overall experience.
all of it. Yeah. And it's about I don't want to call family atmosphere. That feels weird, but
The
just
brotherhood. It's a
feeling the
brotherhood is what it
camaraderie.
is.
It's
Yeah.
like a camaraderie, this love, this everyone's in this thing together. And you just kind of feel it. And you feel the positivity. Uh I mean, I felt it so much. People were nonstop with me after really the one before last, and then this last one. And they're like, you got to keep doing this. This vibe is awesome. What you're doing is cool. We trust what you pick.
Yeah.
We went into this not even knowing some of these bands and come out buying an album and a shirt. And that's music to my ears. I want the bands. I mean, they get all proceeds. Let's make sure everyone knows that. And it's important the bands do well because we're all taking a massive risk in this.
Yeah.
It really is. Rock and roll is, it's a Gen X, Gen Y thing with a little bit of baby boomer mixed in. I mean, you're not going to see 20-some-year-old kids.
No, you're right. I think
You're
the
not.
crowd
Not in
that's
Vegas. Not
oh, I'm
here.
sure.
There's no 20-some-year-old kids, hardly that listen to this. And if they can, they probably couldn't afford to go to the show or something weird. I know a little group that's in a Doom band. I'm going to hit them up. I'm like, dude, I'm going to give you like a big discount code. I want you guys to at least be part of it. But a couple of them have had kids now, and even at age 20, next thing you know, and they're like hustling to, make ends meet. And they got to think of someone besides themselves and getting trashed every weekend. And so,
Yeah.
but I want everyone to be involved. But the reality is, it's a bit older crowd. So I always tell, and I'm older. Hell, I'm 55. And so I tell people, you got to pace
Damn, you're
yourself.
old.
You got to eat food. You got to eat food.
Yeah.
That's the bottom. And the good thing is, it counts vamped. It has food, great food, and so and it has sit down and stuff. So eating will help the longevity of you being able to drink more. I'm a scientist when it comes to drinking, so I don't. But
An
that's what you
alcoholic
have to do.
scientist. I got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I try. It's mad scientist. Yeah,
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing for me is obviously I don't drink. And um, God, what are the bar hours like out in Vegas? What time do they typically close?
Vegas doesn't close, so then it comes down to individual bars. Um, I left last night, Counts Vamped, after Count 77, which is Danny Coker's
Danny's band.
band from the show Counting Cars. I left last night at 1, and there was a decent amount of people still there. So, um, my shows, we're gonna have, it's gonna be full. It's gonna be good, strong crowds. Already pre-sales are great. Got a one from Louisville today. Maybe that's one of your buddies.
It is, dude. I was like, hey,
Cool
dude, did you get taken care of? He goes, I need to, where do I buy the
link
ticket?
or whatever.
So I shot him the link. Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. And so, I check it out, and you know, pre-sales are great, way better than the past 2 years.
Good.
And of course, that's not only. I mean, that makes me feel humbled, and it helps relieve a little bit of stress and pressure. Um, since I've been down this road a few times, I'm a little more prepared, but I am my worst enemy when it comes to putting things off. So, like right now, the last day I've been working on set times, how long and the length. And after that, I got to set up pre-production time, means when they start loading in people
Yeah.
and doing sound checks. And generally, we do a sound check for everyone. Maybe the opening bang sometimes ends up with just a line check, but in this case, this isn't some local opener that is whatever, and you can see them next week. This is bands that have taken their time to get here, and so it means a lot, the commitment they've made, and they're
Yeah.
part of the Vegas Rock Revolution family.
Yeah, which is it's really fucking awesome. First, it's really fucking awesome that you take the time to put this on and put all your energy into it because I don't think many people understand the amount of coordination and effort you have to put into, managing schedules with the bands and flights and travel and gear for those bands that are coming in that aren't bringing all their gear. Like
Oh
they're
yeah.
so much that they have to deal with, and then you get down to brass tacks where it's okay, we're going to sound check in this order, we're going to play in this
Yep.
order, and this is what you guys have. It has to be here because if you go over, then this person's set goes whoop, and you're like, hold on, what the fuck is going
You
on,
know, I got great partners at Counts Vamped where it's two sound guys, and one of the guys works the stage, that part of the sound, and he's like the go-to guy. And he is a guy that's accommodating, but he takes charge and drives the timeline without me ever getting involved. Other than I'll tell you a quick little story. Like this past year, opening night, we were running a little behind. And I went outside. I saw there was a line to come in. So I went outside, and the line was all the way down at the end of the building at Counts Vamped. And I knew Mezua was running late on sound check for whatever reason. I was like, oh shit, you know? Um, so I went and checked with the restaurant. And I went and checked with the bar. And I said, "You guys ready if there was people to come in?" "Oh, yeah." "Okay." Talked to the manager. He asked me the question. Did I talk to them already? "Yep." So I went over to the security guy. He's this tough guy from like Jersey, New York, you know. Um, I go, "Hey man, I think we're gonna start letting people in." "Well, I mean, you done with the sound check yet? I mean, what's going on?" I go, "Nah, it doesn't matter. They're gonna finish up here soon anyways, but you got a line down the down the down the building." And he goes, "Yeah, but that's not what we do." And I go, "Listen, man, I check with the bar, check with the restaurant. Everyone's ready to go. Let's get some people in here so they start spending money at Count's Vamp." You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like literally everyone's waiting to come in and just start buying food and drinks and get situated and so it probably hurried Mezua a little bit on their sound check because I mean they're running behind anyways and part of it's probably it was just the way it kind of worked, but man, everything worked out great. I mean, people don't always get to see what a sound check's like, even.
sure.
You know what I mean? And people are taking in the venue and they're looking around it, and there's all this different, cool, unique stuff. And having to do with cars, having to do with music, accounts, kind of memorabilia. So, yeah, and the night, Meswa kicked it off and with an amazingly dramatic beginning of the set. Like, it was like, whoa, really a moment. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
They did a good job of the lights. They kept it down. I always have to talk to lights people like, listen, this isn't, we're not listening to Skid Row or something where we need the lights bright on everything. That, not everyone's that pretty and all that stuff. So let's not,
They're not out
let's
there
keep it with
showing
the
their tits to
darker
everyone.
tones. I'm like, just
Yeah,
keep it with the darker tones. And then there'll be spots to brighten up things, but default to more of a red black setting of sorts. God, I love the red lights. I just think, again, visual with music, the right music. And remember, most people I work with, they don't understand this music or care or have any knowledge of it. So
right.
I look at almost everyone I have to deal with when it comes to this music as dummies. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just I have to explain it through. And they'll tell me that, "Oh, I know, I know." I'm like, "No, you don't. You
Right.
don't know this music." "Oh," and they'll stereotype something. "Oh, it's just Black Sabbath stuff." Someone said it to me last night, and I said, "Motherfucker, you're dismissing me when you say this.
Yeah.
When you describe my festival as, oh, it's like doomy stoner." I'm like, "Fuck off," is what I told him. I mean, it was a friend of mine, but I'm sick of him making these comments because he's doing that to box me in and dismiss me. Diss me, really. And I'm like, "Dude, it's not the case." And she's like, "Oh, that doesn't," the girl said, "Oh, that didn't sound good." I go, "Time out. Fuck you." And then I said to her, "Listen, do you like Led Zeppelin? Yeah. Jimi Hendrix? Yeah. Like Sabbath? Yeah. Soundgarden? Yeah. Queen Stone Age? Yeah. Alice in Chains? Okay. That's the general vibe. That's the
Yeah.
world that, is around what these bands will be like. I mean, you have to paint a picture and it's still a hard sell because,
Right.
this
And
isn't a
well,
cheap ticket, you
right.
know?
And I think most people, there aren't a lot of people out there who are willing to take the chance
Yeah.
on a lot of bands that honestly they they
Yeah.
probably haven't heard of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's it. There's not a ton of us out here. Like
Yeah.
obviously, me and a couple of people are flying out. We're gonna come and have a great time, and we know. God, I mean, before we get there, we probably know half the bill.
But
But
that's what my preview playlist is for.
yeah, I know.
It's a go-to reference. It's easy. I put it in order so that you're hearing one song by each band mostly as it goes down. I even put it in a programmed order, we'll say. But you just do shuffle just well. And it's easy listening for an hour or two whenever you want. Just go and play. And that's it.
Yeah,
And go look at the phone or look at the computer and go, "Oh, okay, that sounds cool. Sergeant Thunderhoof. Oh, wow. Green Desert Water. That's pretty cool." And you start hearing the diversity in sounds. It's not like they all sound the same. They don't all sound the same at all.
oh, not
So
at all.
I
No,
think
they're
that's
they're
part
very
of,
different, which is
what we
really
try to
cool.
do.
Yeah,
Yeah. But you're
yeah. I
right.
mean,
Not a lot of people go for it like that. But the majority of people come, they're flying.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's
California
because
will
rock.
always SoCal will bring over a few, but yeah, mostly it's. I got a sale from Toronto yesterday. Uh, got one from Jersey the other day. Got one from Florida the other day. I mean, it's everywhere.
We're
And
dedicated.
that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. It's cool to hear that. I'm excited to see the people that show up because like I said, obviously my initial goal to come out was Fire Down Below, but I'm
Nice.
digging into these bands like Sergeant Thunderhoof, Sons of Arrakis or Arrakis or however it's pronounced, which are absolutely phenomenal. Unida, Valley of the Sun. I'm so like blown away
Yeah.
with the level of talent. I
Yeah.
literally listening to Sergeant Thunderhoof. I texted it to a buddy of mine and I was like, dude, I don't believe these guys haven't just exploded.
Well, the deck stacked against them over here. So, and in general, and big business is big business, and it's
Yeah.
controlled by small amounts of people in the record industry. We're down to three labels, so it's tough to shake out of that sometimes.
I
But
don't
man,
know.
rock and roll is it's part of
I
what this is all about is helping rock and roll, helping people go, holy crap, there is good music being made nowadays.
yeah.
And yeah, I'm giving away for my local like musicians, a bunch of them. I'm saying I'm putting your name on the list. I want you to experience it. Now, some of the musicians, they don't like music that other than their own and the classics. That's a lot of musicians that do not like listening to new bands. It's just one of these weird things. And a lot of them will go outside, I know, and they'll be out on the porch smoking cigarettes and hanging out there, not listening to music. I know that will happen. And I'll go out there, I'll go out and call people out in the middle of festivals. I'm like, dudes, you're missing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, but for others, I know that some will come in and be like, whoa. I'll tell you, for instance, a guy I randomly got to meet through another show, um, Alan Childs, and he was the drummer for David Bowie.
Okay.
Yeah. And currently the drummer for John Waite from the Babies.
Oh
And
shit.
he's a cool cat. He's a little eccentric, which I like. And we've done stuff together and we're bizarre together at times because we're both kind of stony talking. It depends on the situation. But I got him to go to a couple of shows and he pops into shows almost anytime I invite him. He's a big fan of King Buffalo, who I turn him on to. I
Yeah.
mean, you know what I mean? Like, if it wasn't for me, he's not going to know about it. And maybe he tells someone else. I mean, it's up to not me, it's up to you, it's up to all these other people um, to
To
just
spread the
help.
word.
But it's really hard because there's a lot of people have mental mindsets where they have a default pattern of pushing away immediately if someone suggests something to them. It's a come with a negative default pattern. And so it's difficult, and other people go, yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're like, yeah, it's not going to happen.
Sometimes I think
Yeah.
maybe the people I hang out with are different
Yeah.
because I promise I can't tell you how many times a day my phone goes off with, hey, listen to this, or when I send something to someone and they're
Yeah.
like, holy shit, and a week
Cool.
later we talk about whatever album was sent,
Yeah. Cool.
and we still have that conversation. But I
Yeah.
think, part of that is it's I'm gonna say it's a sales job,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, people don't think about that, right? Like, but as a band, you're a fucking salesperson.
Yeah.
If you want it to do anything more than just be a hobby,
Or you're at least
it's
a marketer, right?
yeah,
In case
well, it's all
salesperson's
sales,
a dirty
right?
name to some. Uh, a marketer that you have to market your product. And part
Yeah.
of that is obviously selling them on what you do and your vision and everything else. So it's that's why I think it's important that these lineups are tight with stuff that many of it can be accessible. Bands like the Watchers and Valley of the
Oh yeah.
Sun and Sons of Arrakis and I mean we go on and on. You know what I mean? That once people hear it, they're like, "Holy shit!" Pretty fucking cool. Like, wonder why I haven't heard of them. They say that all the time. I'm like,
Yeah.
but I know I have people, I got people in the loop that do the same. But I do have definitely some negative Nancy's. Uh, yeah.
I
I
think
got
we
one guy where I'll send him stuff. You're like, no, I give it a quick listen before, not my thing. I go, are you sure? God, he's so dismissive. And it'd be like 8 months later, he's telling me about the band.
you're like, hold on.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Oh,
And
listen,
it's also
I've been that guy,
relationships.
right?
What's
I've
that?
been that person where someone
Yeah,
sends me music and I'm like, cool, man. Yeah, like I'll check it out. And for whatever reason, maybe I checked it out real quick, or maybe I didn't check it out at all. And a few
right.
months later, I'm like, oh my God, you listen to this? And they're like, dude, look back at the text I sent you. And I look back like 6 months and I'm like, oh shit, sorry, but this is
Right,
great. You know?
right. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's the,
That's the way it works.
that's
Yeah.
the reality of it. Yeah. Especially right when you've got a lot going on, it's hard. And I'm not trying to like downplay those, those people who do that on purpose. You send them something, they're like, yeah, and then a year later, they're like, it's my idea. All right, whatever.
I
You
don't even
know?
sweat that shit.
Yeah.
Don't even sweat that.
So who for you is like that number one band that you really want to see that weekend?
Germ,
Okay.
formerly known as Jeremy Irons and the Rat Gang Malibus, which is a mouthful. No wonder they
Yeah, it is.
changed it. But then Germ is such um, I'm really pinching myself. I won't be giddy until I know they've made it into the country. I'm sorry. That's what I mean?
No, I get
But
it.
their sound, I mean, this is out of Sweden. Their sound is almost everything they do has a certain epic, big sound to it. I mean, it's just epic. It's big. It's illustrious. It's thick with stuff in there, and they're not monolithic as far as style. They have amazingly cheery, heavy psych stuff from kind of their first album or two that are it's like makes me feel like a summer breeze in the middle of summer kind of thing. And the last album was a COVID era album where I helped get them on Ripple, helped put those two together. And that album is very, very dark, um, very ominous, very,
It's good.
introspective
Think
and
about that
big.
time. You fucking
Yeah.
had to be.
Yeah. But I mean, the album before that, probably two of my favorite songs ever by them, Candlelight and The Cultist, both are like super driving, rock songs with, I mean, I cannot wait to see how Carlos sings live. This guy, I can't tell you how many, there's only a certain amount of people I'm impressed with vocally at his level.
Yeah.
Um, like, vocally, him and Dan Flitcroft from Sergeant Thunderhoof, those are probably to me the two vocal guys. But I mean, when you got Tim Narducci Watchers, you got Tony Reed, Lost Generator, um, even Fred from Sons of Arrakis has great abilities. We go on and on. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But Carlos, and it's gonna be accounts vamped, which sound system wise, I will challenge anyone to find a place that has better sound for a 400 or 350 cap place. It's
Ooh.
a total pro spot. I mean,
Yeah.
total. And I talked to Mickey with the band. He's the guitarist, and yeah, I'm giving him an hour set. I mean,
Hell yeah.
I don't skimp on the sets.
Right.
Uh, these bands make an effort to come. I want to give them a full ass set. I mean, there's never going to be anything below 40 minutes on
Hell
this year,
yeah.
and
Good.
quite a few of them are 50. So opening night, everyone's at least 50, except for the Unida, which will be more.
Hell yeah. I'm really looking forward to them. Actually, I was talking with Arthur earlier. I'm gonna interview Arthur
Oh, great.
before before the show. Hopefully we can generate some more some more ticket sales and what have you. I'm really
Cool.
stoked. I think overall, I'm going to say this 100 times. Overall, it's so well curated. The bands from the first to the last are fucking fantastic. So the big question I have is is there going to be like just a backline that everyone shares for the night to help with time, or
Well, at Counts Vamped, they have an amazing setup with backline already provided mostly. And so everyone shares the same drum set, things like that. Um, the same big cabs, but not the headers. So there'll be some shifting in and out of the heads along the
sure,
way, and then the breakables on the drums is pretty standard. Um, so Vamped really it's pretty plug and play, other than you got to work out things with your head. Um, and the sound guys are there to tweak with everything with you. Usual plays, I'm gonna have to kind of put together a backline of sorts. I got a guy that does backline, and I've chatted with him before, but he's a big stoner, so he might have forgotten. So I got to hit him up again and kind of revisit. And the guy doing the sound that night has done tours. His name's Patrick. Has done tours with Nebula, Orange Goblin, and
oh yeah,
bands that are even pretty well known, like alternative rock bands. And he also done sound at Whiskey. And this guy, he's done sound for me this past one on a Saturday, and everyone raved about him. I mean, everyone was blown away by him. He knows the music. That's important.
that's important. Yeah,
He actually know, and he'll do the research. So, uh, yeah, he'll be working with the bands, and that's a big day. But he just kind of drives things along pretty good. But yeah, it's a little crazy with international bands because they really can't bring much with them for multiple reasons, we'll say. And so Arthur's helping me with like instruments on some of that and probably a few other things. So I just got to work through the parts with the heads and whatever else.
yeah. Well, I'm sure it'll get figured out.
It
It
will.
sounds like obviously after being number five, you've got some experience. You kind of know how things have to work. I'm sure you really know how things have to work at this point. So
But listen, you can have the greatest plan in the world, but as Mike Tyson said, you get punched in the face. What happens next? So
yeah,
I learned a long time ago, and I've learned a plan. I've run marketing departments with $100 million budgets and everything else. And I like having big, write it down numerical planners working with me or for me because that's
yeah,
not always my favorite. But one thing that's always has to happen is thinking on your feet and improvising and working through solutions to make things right as quick as possible.
yeah.
So, hopefully it won't be a whole lot of that. Because once really showtime happens, I'm not, I mean, I'm the host of the party. That's it. And I'm partying and hanging out and rock with everyone else. Because
Hell yeah.
most of the stuff, it's going to be working with the sound guys from there. And you just got to get out of the way
Yep.
because they're the ones.
Well, that I think, that's a really important thing that a lot of people don't understand. Like, I think even in a corporate level, you have those C-suite people who want to have their hand in everything and play the puppeteer when at the end of the day, when you've got people who understand what they're doing and know what they're doing,
Yeah.
you don't fucking touch them.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, they'll come to you. But until
Yeah.
then, you
Yeah.
let
That's
them
it.
do their thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. It's micromanaging, not it's certainly a dirty word mostly. But hey, the lighting person, they'll think I'm micromanaging because I'm going to tell them my vision. And
Yeah.
I need to meet, it's a female too. I haven't even met her yet. And so I have to respectfully kind of go, hey, this is kind of what this is about. Because I did the one other like guy that was kind of reasonably new and really probably didn't know what he's doing. He was, I just go by what I feel, man. I'm like, what I need you to feel. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, dude, stop with this. This is my show. Sometimes I have to get so fired up because I take ownership of this,
Yeah.
win or lose. You know,
Well, hopefully it's a big win,
it
and
will be. It will.
we get through five and start
As
setting
long as
up
the
for
world, as
six.
long as we make it to that, the world does. We're fine.
Oh
It can
yeah.
explode February 5th. It's fine. As long as I get this thing done, my life is, my life is fine.
So
Fucking.
l- how long did it take you to put five together? Like when did you start working on it?
A couple days after the fourth one, maybe. Well, I had talked, I said I wasn't going to do it unless this one didn't lose money or just was, close to even with all things, factored. Um, so when it became apparent that it was at least a break even, uh, and I'd already talked to people that said you need to do this again. So, and I said to them a lot of times, like, if I could, would you? If I could give you 4 or 5 bands, announce with a pre-sale ticket, would you do it? And yes. And they delivered.
Oh
I
yeah.
have a great core crowd. Some of them go to Ripple Fest as well. And, there's a good synergy between the two. They're good distance length apart from each other as well. Two totally different experiences. I'm a Ripple Fest lover from the very first Ripple Fest Texas. I've been to every one of them. And I support and even do marketing for them and stuff. So it it's important when these people committed for me to then go, all right. And I put like this want list of bigger bands and kind of work my way down some of that stuff. And I'm just here to say financially, it's way too big a risk. And I mean for bands that you wouldn't think are that expensive, but their agents are asking for more than probably their value representation of it. And that's what's real tricky. Sometimes you got to overpay because you're like, all right, but the culmination of all this together. But I mean, I negotiate every single one of these setups as well.
Yeah.
And I tried hard to get Fu Manchu. They skipped Vegas on their tour and all this other stuff. We were one of like 8 cities they needed to do. And so I thought, all right, this is perfect. But their agent had this other timeline in mind, which I haven't heard anything from them about, and I messaged with Scott from Fu Manchu, the main guy, and he was like super cool. But in the end, nothing could happen. You know what I mean? I mean, I,
Not
I
this
needed
year.
a commitment at some point in time. I had to move
Yeah.
on. And I felt out things with hell early on. I even felt out things with an investor for Rival Sons, where we were going to do a bigger venue, and a couple other bands. I sniffed around a little bit of Corrosion Conformity and bands like that. But man, all that shit is it's massive. These are big gambles.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I
and
just
when I don't have
I
the You know what I mean? It's just right now with the venue size and all that, it would have been tricky. I mean, at times I was like, maybe Monster Magnet be cool, but they had to cancel half their European tour. So I'm like, I don't need
right.
that. You know what I mean? Right now. Um,
No, no
and,
one
and there
really
are even
needs that,
bands like,
right?
I mean, I tried a lot of like the somewhat bigger bands, and it just either didn't make sense or they didn't want to do it. They're like, oh,
Sure.
we got something else going on. I'm like, all right. you know. But I mean, I work from a big list. You know what I mean? Like I'm writing down a lot to start.
You
So
have to.
me scratching off, these the wish list ones wasn't a big deal to me. It was just part of the process.
Sure. Oh, it always is. So I've been part of a festival here locally. I
Oh,
think this last year we had 6,000 attendees, six or
wow.
7,000. Um, it's a very different world. Like what we do is we it's called the Big Stomp, and we raise money for a mental health organization.
Okay, so it involves charity and stuff like that. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and
but
that helps.
if a little bit, but if you don't have the talent, people typically aren't going to show up,
Uh,
you know?
yeah,
Um, who did we have? We had St. Paul and the Broken Bones this year, which was,
Hmm. Don't know what
dude,
that.
I'm gonna tell you, if you want a good live show, and they come
What are
through
they called?
Vegas, St. Paul and the Broken Bones.
What kind of music?
It's not Doom Stoner. It's
Well, I
just
know, but what is it?
I I I don't really know how to like classify it.
Huh.
I To me, it's
Okay.
just like it's a good time on stage.
Cool.
The whole fucking crowd just went wild.
That's
God,
awesome.
it was so good. But we start working. Actually, we're probably getting ready to start picking up here in the next week or two, and we'll go until I think end of July this year. Is when we're gonna have it, and it's same thing. Everyone's out like we want that band, we want this band, see what
Yeah.
we can make work, and
Yeah.
who's routing, like
All
the
right.
schedules work. It's
Well, yeah. I try to do it so far in advance that I don't have to deal with tours and all that. Ripple Fest works a little bit differently around some of the tours and all that. So, uh, yeah. I mean, I already have some kind of invites out for the next one.
okay.
For some international ones in particular, because so I haven't really firmed up anything yet, but pretty sure I got a Canadian and an Italian band already committed that I'm very high on both these bands. One of them's been around a little while, the other is pretty new, but there's just something. So it's just my ears and other people's ears tells me, these are the kind of bands that would represent
Yeah.
Canada's rock good. Yeah. Certain
But
energy.
and I think that's a really cool thing too, is you're not looking at like uh necessarily the draw for each band, right? It's like, well, this band just sounds really fucking good.
Not you can't because there is no
Right.
draw. So that's almost an assumption, mostly for most bands that are involved with this. Um, Except for some of the European ones that like you mentioned earlier, Fire Down Below brought you in. I mean, I don't know if you know S. Patrick Brooks. He does the heavy underground farm report. He's another sober guy like yourself. I got a couple sober friends to introduce you. A bunch of them coming.
Sweet.
And I lost my train of thought why I brought him up.
Talking about
Jeez,
bands.
in the world.
We
I
were
started
talking
talking
about
about it. He's such a good guy too. Well, if I remember it, I'll get back to you. Jesus
okay.
Christ.
Yeah.
Last night was a hell of a night.
Still feeling it, huh?
A little bit. I'll be all
That's
right.
awesome. That's
But yeah,
awesome. I mean,
it's good. It's an exciting time uh as we get so much closer to, seeing things happen. Um, but it's fun putting it together, but it comes with some ups and downs. And
oh
I thought
yeah.
I was really close to getting this one headliner at one time. And it's for a band that doesn't play a lot, but they're active. And one of their guys already had something planned. I mean, it was like everyone was ready to go, but one guy had something already. I'm like, so,
Every
but we made a
I
good connection, and probably the next one I'll ask them if they want to do it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
You might put that out there now. Hey.
yeah, exactly. No, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
What?
that's a good thing about doing it yourself though, right? You can start
Yeah,
whenever you want.
yeah, yeah. I have people. I'd be like, hey, I want to help you. I already know what they mean, but I'll go along with that. What do you mean? I mean, I'm kind of one person thing. I'm not sure like, what are you talking about? What would you be able to help me with? I don't know. I could help you with pick the bands. I could get, I could work with the band. I'm like, I mean, like, that's my baby. Sorry. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
everyone
mean,
wants to pick the bands,
they're like,
right?
I'm really could bring something to the table for you. I'm like, you're not paying the bills. So,
Sure.
it
Yeah, I mean
just, that's the
that's an
fun part. How about you go out and sell me some tickets? You know what I mean? Go do, yeah. So
do you do
I always
sponsors at all?
appreciate, huh?
Do you do sponsors at all?
I have not tried hard enough. Ripple is a sponsor this year. They have a whole showcase day that I came up with and set up. And so Todd's been a great partner. Um, I'm probably gonna do an email or two after this show with a couple potential ones. I'm just at least gonna say, hey, and one maybe even I might even do something with. There's one kind of animal charity thing that I want to at least feel out with them what they think. Um, that maybe I attach it to one of the nights, maybe Sunday night or something,
Sure.
as something. Because I'm an animal lover. Yeah, I don't have any pets, but I love animals, and they're innocent creatures, we'll say. So a chance to help with something, and at the same time, it's cool.
Yeah,
You know,
tie it together,
but I don't have to.
and well, if I feel like if you bring in some of those larger sponsors who are willing to go, a little bit longer term, look at the 2, 3, 4 years,
Yeah, I agree.
and
I don't have
then
a sponsorship deck, if you will. I actually had a guy doing it last year for this year. And but he asked way too much from the sponsors. And I'm like, yeah. And so he got nowhere with it and just gave up.
yeah, it obviously
It was
depends
too much.
on what the goal is, but that specifically seeking out those sponsors is not, it's not part-time, and it is not for
Yeah.
the weak of heart. Like, you get into it and
Yeah.
you're going to hear 200 no's before you get that one yes. So it's
Yeah.
a lot of,
Yeah, we got a couple of museums I'm gonna hit up, at least to chat with and just see if there's some kind of synergy, and at least be able to put flyers at their place and maybe set up somewhere people can get a discount
yeah,
if they go to their museum, using a code or flashing, their ticket or something. So I'll just leave it at that for now. But we are getting down to grind time, so but Ripple's
yeah,
been great. So super excited and happy to have Ripple.
yeah. Todd and what they've got going on over there is fantastic.
Yeah.
I love seeing it, and knowing that obviously the Obsessed being nominated for a Grammy, and there was another band too. And Todd, I'm sorry, man, it's slipping my mind, but all I can think is like, fuck yeah for Ripple, right? Because
Yeah.
it's again, it's not like that thing is making a ton of money.
Yeah.
It's a passion project, and to
Yeah.
just to see the love behind it is fantastic. Just like Planet Desert Rock Weekend,
Thank you. I think Todd does a great job. I think it's my favorite label still. Big fan of heavy psych sounds, but I definitely prefer Ripple. Blown away by the historically awesome Small Stone, which this last year really step back into it. Scott from Small Stone, the owner, will be at Planet Desert Rock as well.
Sweet.
I think Magnetic Eye and Blues Funeral are great. Unfortunately, Jad's not able to make it. But I think those are very strong labels. I mean, that lowrider split, that lowrider side, it's just give me more. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And they got a new album coming out. So, um, there's great music being made with all those kind of labels, and there's other labels. Glory and Death, which is out of California, Buddy Donner does, is really cool. I think Magnetic Mountain or something Mountain over in Sweden's really good. I mean, we can go on and on,
Oh
but
yeah, King Volume. King Volume's doing really
yeah,
good
there's some good
stuff.
stuff there. But Ripple for me, and you have a nice mesh of stuff at that. There's no stereotype of them. Anyone who's dumb enough to do that, is lazy. Because I mean they have heavy shit. I
Yeah.
mean they just put out 10,000 years, which is obviously pretty damn heavy. They got like Terra Mania and these other like bands like that, and
Yeah.
he's doing the Beneath the Desert
Good.
series.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
which is super fucking cool.
yeah, I mean that's how we got Fireball Ministry,
Yep.
involved with this, which I hit early on with Emily and the guitarist, and so. I just, and then getting him. I mean, I set up the lunch for me, my roommate for the weekend, Wino, who stayed with me all during Planet Desert Rock 1. Let that sink in. Me and Wino, one on one, all weekend long. We didn't know each other that well, but what a cool guy. We're like brothers ever since then.
Hell
And
yeah.
me and Wino met up with Todd and Bucky Brown, who used to do a lot of stuff with Ripple and other things, and we all met up for lunch over at the Sahara. And the rest kind of culminated and came together. So it's putting good people and good people together, you get good results.
100%. I think that's another thing, right? Is just making those connections and sitting down and having a conversation with no other agenda. Then let's just get to know each other,
Yeah.
right? Because if we mesh well, then shit, we could probably do business well together too.
There's always a
Let's
light, I would say there's always at least a light agenda, but it just that shouldn't be one that it's up to people and how their touch and feel is of the process. But you
sure.
know, it's there's always probably something in the back of your mind, or you're kind of like, if things went well, this could be something to explore. That's why business people will at least work, even from a casual standpoint, I think. And sometimes you just don't get the vibe and you move on. That's
Right.
the way it goes, you
Yeah,
know.
no harm, no foul. You
Yeah.
don't click like, cool,
Nice
let's
meeting
move
you.
on. Yeah. See ya. Good luck. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that's it. I think that's cool. You guys, so for the festival, you're gonna have um t-shirts, posters. Obviously, the bands are gonna have their stuff also.
Yep. Yep. Lots of merch. Yeah, I'll have posters for each of the days, and then I'll have a bigger poster that kind of summarizes all the days. The daily posters are done by Joey Riddell, who I just got word today is coming. So him and his brother, both that are in the band Fuzz Evil, by the way, which has a new album coming out.
Oh yeah.
Um, and then Alex Sonolith, as he's known from Sonolith, he's the one that's helped with the overall poster
Cool.
and some of the other graphics that I use on social media. And so we'll have those posters available. Uh, I did not have shirts this past year, but I will this year. Matter of fact, I need to reach out to this one place that's been suggested and start, seeing what kind of deal, start pricing a little bit,
Yep.
and I want to get good, comfortable, smooth, like soft shirts too. One
That's
year the
always
shirts I
hard.
got, they're all right, but they're not as soft. I've gotten softer shirts from other places. I'm like, if it's an extra dollar shirt, let's do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's two-sided shirts, which makes it more expensive, multicolor, which makes it more expensive. So, there's a decent breakage point on shirts, but you have to buy, X amount, and then you have to get all these different sizes. And so
Yeah.
many times you got stuff left over. And that's part of the bummer. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'll bring a few of the older shirts along and, tell them it's like $10 or something, just so I can
Dude,
get rid of
listen, I'm gonna give you an idea for that.
them. Okay.
So what we did at the big stomp with all our old shirts is wrapped them up so you don't know what it is,
Okay.
and it's $10 for just a surprise shirt. You get what you get.
Problem
So,
is with the sizes, man. You
well,
can't do any
you
sizes.
you sort it by size,
Okay. I
right?
was
You
going to
sort it
ask.
by size, and then like we did really well with it this year. We got
I'll make
this
a
is
note of
gonna
that.
this is gonna sound really shitty, but we got rid of a lot of old stock that
We got
wasn't
to.
moving doing that, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So just something.
Might be something like yeah. So yeah, I still actually need to even find a uh, merch girl or guy still. So
Merch
the one I
something.
normally would have moved. So
Ah,
yeah,
damn.
yeah, yep. So
Hey, Alex, you're gonna work merch. No, I'm just kidding. I
I
love
like merch
Sonolith, dude.
girls really. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I just got to find the right one.
sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But
Plenty of
yeah,
people out there in
all
Vegas.
the bands will have their little areas for that as well. Vamped, it doesn't have a shit ton of space for it, but what I've done it so many times that we, generally got an idea how to do it there, with a couple tables. We use like literally tables that people normally sit at. Like Mario Lally for Fatso Jetson, he set it up at these back tables at the back of the bar and just sit up there so they could just sit there and they had their stuff. And, it was easy I mean, people were walking by there all the time.
Yeah.
Um, at usual place, they only got a couple tables, so that's, part of the thing. So I just got to make sure we got enough tables, when you got six bands.
Yeah.
But there's room there because it's a pretty long room with a,
You want me to buy
nice.
some of those like 6 foot tables and send them to you? Like,
How much do those cost?
I don't think they're much. I think you can find them for like 30 bucks a piece or something.
Huh. Good to know.
I mean, I say I say that I don't really fucking know. Like I feel like
Yeah, yeah.
I looked at a 6 foot table. That was probably last year and it was like 20 or 30 bucks. I
Okay.
was going to use it for something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So that stuff just got to get worked out. The not so fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The those fucking minute details. You're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. What
That
bands are
sucks.
you looking forward to the most, man?
Uh honestly, Fire Down Below's Sons of Arrakis or Arrakis.
What's your favorite album by Fire Down Below?
Oh my God. So my introduction was Low Desert Surf Club
Oh, yeah.
and this song, like I remember exactly how it happened. This is how much I love this band.
Yeah.
So I love Blessed Black. Like they
Yeah.
are one of just fucking phenomenal musicians. Murphy has a great voice. So I listen to them
Okay.
religiously, well, on Spotify, it just, once it's done with them, it plays
Yeah.
other stuff kind of like them.
Great thing about Spotify.
And
Yep.
Fire Down Below came on California. And I was like, oh,
Great song. Yeah.
what the fuck is that? And I
Right.
listened to that probably 3 or 4 times. And I was like, okay, let me go listen to the album. And that album, starting with Cocaine Hippo and then, into California, and holy shit. I
Yeah.
was absolutely enthralled with that. But then I'm talking to Todd, and Todd's like, oh, you need to go back and listen to the first one. So I'm like, all right.
Without a doubt.
So I go back and I listen to the whole discography. And mind you, like Todd was out of stock on the vinyl. So I fucking ordered from the guys in Belgium and had them send me all the damn vinyl.
Ah,
Like I want it all. So I've
yeah.
got all the albums. I fucking
Yeah.
love, there's not a bad song on any one of the
Yeah. I
albums.
was hooked from the first album early on. I remember me and my buddy Scott and a few of us were the only ones I remember that even knew them for a while. And it was
Yeah.
just like, holy shit. And there was a certain kind of almost metallic sheen and then a grunge kind of space. There was just a certain production level on it that it was unique and cool. And you could tell vocals were working good. And so, yeah, I'm super excited to have them. And I love their last album. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Big. Yeah.
and it's not, the whole album doesn't sound the same, right? Like
Right.
they've got some good like surf and psych and, uh,
Yeah. Yeah. I got a little
uh
surf stuff going on there. Definitely a desert rock vibe. Cocaine hippo is what that refers to?
no.
Manny Escobar.
Holy
He had
shit.
hippos.
Huh. That's
Fucking had
hilarious.
like a big, like
Yeah.
almost zoo-like thing. So yeah, cocaine hippos.
I wasn't
Lots of
even
hippos
like,
with cocaine money.
I didn't even put it like two and two together. How crazy is that? I just saw a
That's
video
me.
that
I'm
no,
full of worthless information.
shit, me
Yeah.
too. Do you know Vanilla Ice used to hang out with Pablo Escobar?
Yeah, I've seen the stories. They kind of pop up a little bit more recently. Yeah.
Like,
Down there in Star Island, which is an area in Miami, that's, it's not on the beach, it's on this sort of waterway, but mega super nice houses.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that shit's so wild.
Yeah.
Who else? Obviously Sergeant Thunderhoof now. I'm like,
Yeah.
um, God bless Luna Soul.
Hmm.
Like, fuck. You got Mr. Bison, Bonehawk, Omega Sun, Godzillionaire. Like I said, in my mind, there's not a bad artist or even a lesser than artist on
Yeah.
any of the nights.
What band are you least familiar with?
That's probably, honestly, probably Mr. Bison.
Wow. You know,
Yeah.
their album they put out this year, which has gotten very, very good acclaim. It's on end of the year list, will be extremely high on my yet to be presented end of the year list. Is very different. Uh, their last three albums each have their own kind of sound to them, which I've liked them for four albums or whatever. So I've known about these guys for a while. That's why they played Planet Desert Rock. Um, but this last album, they added a multi-instrumentalist to them, and that gave them some depth and some extra, kind of lines of music in there. And I think that's going to be really make for a fascinating set. They're definitely even more heavy psych now than they've been before, with some proggy like things. I like people to like Elder, King Buffalo, bands like Weed Pecker. I think Mr. Bison fits firmly in that grouping right now at
Oh
the
yeah.
higher echelon. Um, I'm really excited to see what do they sound like now. I mean, they were great before. I had them
That's pretty
play Ten Does Rock 2. They played the same, them and Saturna played the same day as John Garcia and whoever else that day. So it's hell of a night, hell of a day.
Yeah, that's fucking cool.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned Elder, and I think that's the really cool thing about that last or most recent Fire Down Below album. Nick produced that. Nick from Elder produced
Nick
that.
DeSalvo. Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, he's had some involvement with a number of things. So Nick's a talented guy. I actually hung out with him a little bit when they played here recently. Um, yeah.
Hell
He
yeah.
doesn't live here anymore. So he lives in Germany now.
Right.
So yeah, believe me, I'd love to have Elder. They might be priced out of my range as well at this point in time.
Especially after that tour, like,
Yeah, yeah. Who
oh
knows?
shit.
So, but I
Yeah.
love those guys. Big fan of Elder since the beginning, almost the beginning as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Love those dudes. I just talked with George Edert, the drummer. Really, really cool conversation.
Yeah.
And, of
I
course,
know their old drummer,
oh yeah.
Matt Quoto or Kudo. He's in the band Kind. Uh, yeah, he was their drummer for, I don't know, first three, four releases at least. Yeah. And he's in the band Kind now. And he lives in Boston, that area, and has a
Good
kid
old
and all this other
B-Town.
stuff now. But
I,
super cool guy. Party with him at Psycho Vegas, even.
hell
Yeah.
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 Man, Psycho Vegas no more. They canceled Sick New World.
Uh, Signal Roll thing is bizarre. It's right across the street from my building. And I went actually to the first year. I just landed like a gift, a miracle. Someone just gave me one, basically, or for cheap. And it was a cool experience. But man, I mean, it was hot out there, but I'm used to it. Um, I know how to deal with it. And the ticket I had was like a VIP ticket. So we had our own bathrooms and they were like air conditioned and they're nice in there.
Yeah.
And but I think it's overkill. It's what I just think the setup of what they do, it's too much. They don't need all that. They don't
Too many
need all
bands.
those bands. And they went really heavy this go round, and that didn't sell. So it
Yeah.
didn't sell at all to what they needed. I mean, they're normally
Well,
sold out in 2 days or something.
I know. I looked at those prices though, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
like I love a lot of the bands that are on that bill, but at the end of the day, like you start thinking, and this is the conversation I have with myself about Louder Than Life is, what do they have? Like 60 bands over the course of a day on 5 stages. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna pay, I don't even know what it is, like $200 a day, to go to
Yeah.
Louder Than Life. Like if I'm gonna pay $200 to go to this, how many bands am I actually gonna be able to see and enjoy?
That
You
depends on
start
you.
Well, you start taking into account bathroom, food, merch if you buy merch, where you're going to be in the,
Yeah.
scope
No,
of things.
it has to be thought out and it has to be executed. It's not easy. I don't love these. Ripple Fest is big enough for me, and I did all the psychos, and it was part of the reason why I do mine the way I do it is the things I learned from going to psycho, which was I didn't like having to get up and go there by like 12 o'clock sometimes to
Right.
catch a band I really needed to see. I mean, if I
Yeah.
me and my buddy Billy, he was in town from Florida that he comes every year to Planet Rock. We were hungover from the night before, but we had already looked at the schedule and we already knew we wanted to be there for like Night Horse, which is like a really cool band that's just like hard heavy rock. It's almost like if Black Crowes was on cocaine or something, like a little bit faster and heavier and a little rougher. And God, we had to drag our asses down there. That singer took control of a pretty darn big, size crowd, a pretty good sized packed crowd. Took control. Like I'd never seen a man command. Like he got people down on their knees and shit. It was crazy.
Hell yeah.
We were just tired, hungover, and high. Of course, the best way to get over a hangover is to smoke a joint or bowl. And man, but it just got rough sometimes, and I would end up missing bands. One
Yep.
year I was just getting over a sickness, and so I had to go home, which I lived like 15 minutes away at the time, so it wasn't that far, maybe in 10. And I went home and chilled and made myself a sandwich and just relaxed and missed like, two bands and then came back in time for Mudhoney or something, I think.
Well, shit, that's cool that you could leave and come back because, like, all
Yeah.
too often now,
Oh, they give you you have to have the bracelet. In Psycho, you had to have the bracelet the whole trip,
yeah.
meaning, yeah, they don't
Well,
give you a new one each day. It stayed there, like in the
it was
shower and shit.
it's the same thing louder than life. You
Yeah.
put it on, it
So,
it stays there. But once you go out, you can't come back in.
that's weird.
Yeah,
But yeah,
like,
I like giving people a break and enjoying the other aspects of Vegas. I mean, Vegas has a lot to offer. We're
yep.
one of we're the biggest, or if not the second biggest destination in America. And it's not just gambling, but don't get me wrong, there's gonna be people that they're gonna gamble during the day and enjoy.
Sure.
Others are going to go to the museums. I mean, we have the punk rock museum, we
I
got
know.
the mob museum, we got the pinball museum, which has some super cool games. The atomic museum, because atomic, the development of atomic bomb and everything, part of that was done here as well, and they were doing
Oh, I didn't
explosions
know
out in the
that.
deserts. So yeah, we got all kinds of neat stuff. Even Zach Baggins as a museum, for those that are interested in ghosts and things of that nature. And there people can go hiking out of Red Rock Canyon Park, which is a beautiful park. Last year we had 60 degrees at least 2 of the days.
Oh
So,
yeah.
people coming in from fucking Wisconsin, they're wearing shorts. I was like, someone showed up at the concert with shorts. I'm like, it's gonna be like 40 tonight, right? This
Like,
is
yeah, but
nothing.
right now it's not. It's fine. Yeah,
And
like it's
they're like, what was it, night even? But they're like, it's nothing. We're
yeah,
fucking from Chicago. I'm like, all
it's
right, I get it.
it's fucking
You know what I
20
mean?
here right now. I'm like, I
Oh, God, it's horrible. I can't do
and
that.
we're getting ready to get a there's this there's a snowstorm that looks like a dick coming across the
It
US
is.
right now.
Yeah.
It's 1,500 miles long or something.
Yeah.
I sent it to my wife. She goes, "Oh, great, it looks like a dick 'cause it's about to fuck everyone." I'm like,
Yeah, it's
"Yeah,
about to fuck everyone. Yeah,
it is."
whether it's in the whatever or the whatever.
Yeah. So it's supposed to hit it actually supposed to start hitting tomorrow, I think at 7 a.m. or something, and I leave Monday. It's supposed to start tomorrow morning and go until Monday afternoon or something. I'm leaving Monday and going to Nashville for a couple of days.
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, it'll be, a little warmer
Is
in
it going to hit there
Nashville.
too, though?
Now we're going to be just outside of it,
Oh,
I
wow.
think.
That's
So we'll
good.
see. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Um, John, when I get out there, I'm flying in on the 29th. If you need any help with anything the night of the 29th or morning of the 30th, let me know, dude. I'll lend a
Sure.
hand, whatever you need.
Never know. Maybe I need help with boxes. Some of the bands are
Whatever.
going to send me stuff.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, I appreciate it. And tickets are available on Eventbrite for those that maybe don't have it yet.
Go get your fucking ticket. You can get a ticket and a poster.
Poster combo. Yep. They're going to be badass posters.
I know
So
I'm excited. I want my poster combo. That's what I ordered, the fucking poster combo. I'm bringing a damn poster tube so I can,
good idea. Oh my God, good idea.
yeah. Well, I've got so many t-shirts. Like half of my garage is literally full of t-shirts. My wife's like, "You got to stop buying t-shirts." All right, I'll buy posters. Now she's like, "You got to stop buying posters."
Right. Because you're like filling up rooms and yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got
Yeah,
a
I got a
port.
lot of shirts. I mean, these
Yeah,
I bought like these hanger things
yeah.
um and put that together. And there's still in my regular closet another 30 at
Oh yeah.
least. You know, it's
Yeah, mine
crazy.
are. I literally I have to switch them out, but I buy totes and I fill them up with shirts, and they rotate out to the garage, and somehow I keep filling. I've got two drawers that I keep filling up with t-shirts that probably there's probably 30 shirts at any given time in my dresser.
Yep, I get it. The struggle's real.
It is for
Struggle's
sure.
real.
All right, John, dude, thank you for taking time out of your night to come and hang out and chat with me. I'm looking forward to shaking your hand when I'm out there in
Yeah,
Vegas.
man. It's gonna be great to meet you for sure. And we'll link up when you get here. And for anyone watching, check it out. Flights are not that much to Vegas, but we know not everyone can afford that. But Southwest Airlines and Allegiant, it's easy. And for you Californians and from Phoenix and all that, 5 hour trip, it's a breeze.
I
And you can
just,
get rooms. I even have an app that I give people where you can get a discount called Hotel Tonight, and it's very good. The Stratosphere and the Sahara are the ones that where a lot of people are staying at, and it's pretty good price. Particularly for Thursday and Sunday, it's like next to nothing. So
yeah, I,
check it out. And yeah, it's less than $10 a band. If you think about it that way.
yeah, it's fucking cool. It's a great price for 4 days of fantastic music. So awesome, man. Go have
All
yourself a
right.
great night.
All right. Thanks. Thanks for having
Yep.
me. Take
See you,
care, buddy.
John.